What's your evaluation of how the defense played at BYU?
We've got to get ourselves off the field. We had opportunities to turn them away after sudden change. That's something that we talk a lot about as an opportunity to show everybody how good we can be, and we didn't get them off the field in sudden change. So I think that there were some good things certainly that happened, and then there were some just critical errors that we made that ended up being major plays. I think of one at the end of the game there where we missed about 6 or 7 tackles, took some poor angles, had some poor, just bad ball. And then we made a couple mistakes in man on some exchange things that we were working on, and it was just overall I think we could have been better.
It's been kind of a so-so year so far for Gordon, but obviously Doug Walker, award winner. How dangerous of a back is he?
Extraordinarily dangerous. Yeah, he's just a powerful runner. He's got a great stiff arm. He's difficult to bring down. I think he does a really good job with his lower body of evading people in the hole. And I can't explain why he hasn't gotten going, but I don't want us to be the ones that he gets going on. I mean, he's, I think they're an RPO-based team, and I think sometimes people are putting a lot of people in the box to get them to throw the ball, and as such, he doesn't get as many carries. And people are trying to take him away that way, and that's, probably a pretty smart idea because he's a good football player.
The wide receiver, Brennan Presley, is putting up good numbers early on this year. Is he getting the ball through those RPO situations, or are they just scheming stuff?
He does. He's been a thorn in our side for several years. He's just kind of does it all. They design things for him. He's going to get the ball in reverses. He's going to get the ball on some. A lot of their third down design, stuff is going to be him, wiggle routes and option routes and things that he gets it. I know at the end of the game last year, we had an opportunity to get the ball back, and we did, but it was later than we liked because on a third down he caught a 10-yard out route. He just did a nice job of creating some leverage, and he's just kind of a clutch guy and has been for them for a long time.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like Oklahoma State the last few years has saved some special stuff that they debut for you guys. What makes that hard to prepare for?
Well, if I remember right, last year they were coming off a bye week and had a little bit of extra time. If I remember right, also last year they were kind of rotating a bunch of quarterbacks at that time and hadn't settled on Alan Bowman. And so I think they had just settled on him maybe the week prior, and some of his skills are maybe different than some of the skills that the other two kids had. And so I think they kind of tried to, over their time off, find an identity. And, I thought they probably had a little bit of juice, coming in to try to change things and get something going on the offensive side. And, they had that first series of stuff was just gadget after gadget. And they do a good job, I think, of scripting the beginning of their games. And when you look at them, they're going to go lightning fast for their first however many plays as they get through that script. And stuff that they execute really well is stuff that they haven't shown. I think they do a great job of game planning people. I think they understand what formations maybe you're the weakest in, and then they try to just exploit the heck out of those formations. And it's going to be a chess game to try to get caught up and figure that out.
What do you want more out of your secondary after the first handful of games?
We can't make those mistakes in man coverage. It's happened to us a couple games in a row. And when I say mistakes in man coverage, I'm not talking about technique errors, just playing man. I'm talking about some of the pass-off things that we're doing, some of the just fundamental things that people are going to continue to do to us until we can shut it down. And ultimately, if we can get them in competitive situations, we get good enough players across the board back there to get things done. But when we're having communication errors, when we're not seeing things the same way, that's what hurt us in Tulane. It's what hurt us last week as well.
Anything else? You see Alan Bowman last game. He took a seat, I think, in the first half, and then came back and led 2 touchdown drives late. Yeah. When you see him, what do you see in him as a player?
He's a good football player, and I don't think that. I think it was probably a clever move by Coach Gundy, because I don't think they have any intention of replacing him or anything like that. He's their guy for sure. It's just sometimes he might have been frustrated, or and just needed to get him to step back a little bit and take a breath before he got back in there. But he's the reason they made the run last year. I mean, they've got a lot of good players all across the board there, but to make that all work, you got to have a guy in the quarterback spot that knows what he's doing and knows how to deal those RPOs and can throw the ball out on time in their pass game. And that's what makes Ollie Gordon dangerous. Is when you have to spread it out because you got a guy that can distribute it. That's what gets the run game going a little bit. And I think Allen is phenomenal at that. He's a really good, solid football player.
The two games you mentioned there where the secondaries kind of had some issues, both on the road. Is crowd noise a factor in that, or is it other things from within?
I don't think so. I don't. We can sit in the meeting room and every one of those guys can tell me exactly what happened, exactly what went wrong, and there's no excuse for it. And I don't, to be honest, none of those pictures are anything new. I mean, we didn't see anything in Tulane or last week that we hadn't prepared for. We just got to be able to do it when it matters.
The RPOs, how do you sort of disrupt the timing on those and get them to go away from them?
You bet. Variable pictures. Those are the things, and trying to avoid as many one-on-ones as we can, and that's college football in that world. Is if you're going to do some of that stuff, you're going to have some one-on-ones. Utah last week, they were unabashed about just, hey, we're going to play some man and load the box and take Ollie Gordon away, and I think there's always going to be a component of that, and we're going to have to win on the outside, and then there's going to be some other things that that won't be that, to try to get some protection for the secondary. So, but these guys have been ahead of that game for a long, long time, and they're very entrenched in what they do and been doing it well for as long as I've been here. So that they're as good as there is in the RPO world.